When last we left our hero, a little thing I've learned is time kinda gets shortened a whole lot. And our last couple sessions, we've been pressing to get more and more done in shorter and shorter time. Our last session turned out to be a 2-hour mini little slug, mini little adventure. But that's okay because we're taking bits by bits and pieces by pieces. So, let's get back into the Sunless Citadel. My name is Patrick, and here's the campaign diary. So the party had finished capturing the dragon, lost Meepo, and were returning to Eustrail. Upon returning, Eustrail was open to the fact that they had successfully brought back the dragon. She was not that upset about Meepo because they had the dragon back. So she was willing to give Hetfield that key that was hanging above her head. The key that opened way back in Area 6 opened that door that had rolls that were in the 30s. Yeah, you had to roll, according to the book, you had to roll a DC 30 to defeat the magical stuff, and then a DC 30 to defeat the mechanical locks. However, with the key, it was much, much, much quicker. So, they go into the next room, which is the room with one glowing globe on the pedestal and 3 broken ones. Naturally, they look at the one that's glowing, at which point Gretta and Hetfield go running out the door. Aleena and Eric the gnome that they picked up are pretty much unaffected. They discover that as they grab it, it gets really, really loud, and it gets a little quieter when they aren't holding it but are standing next to it. Amazingly, neither Hetfield nor Gretta fall into the trap back at the beginning of the dungeon, which is pretty much where they are sent. They run into the room, and if they don't fall in the trap door, the effect ends. So they go back a second time. Gretta makes her save. Hetfield doesn't. Goes running a second time, and manages not to fall in the trap. And a third time, Hetfield walks into the room, hears the music, starts running, and doesn't trip the trap a third time. So yeah, even Gretta and her miserable wisdom managed to beat out Hetfield on that one. So Hetfield decided to pack it along with them into the next room where they got an arrow shot at him and walked into the following room with that globe still going and so forth. So they had the sense to go back. Hetfield went back, dropped it, walked back in, and got shot, because he didn't disarm the trap. So after disarming the trap, they go into the next room, where there's the big dragon sculpture. And it intones deeply, and this is where chat is really helpful, because you can just say, here's the chat, but he intoned, "We come at night without being fetched. We disappear by day without being stolen. What are we?" The advantage of getting things like this to your party is that you can go into your bladder. I returned, and of course they had the answer was either the sky or the stars. Stars was the correct answer, which was awesome. Now before that, they'd already determined that there was magic on the statue, and there was magic connecting to what was probably a secret door in the wall. That secret door slid open nicely and easily. So on to Area 10. The party isn't too much for looking at things. They kind of just did a little bit of walking around. Saw that one of these statues was missing from the alcoves in this room. And Aleena had the bright idea of misty stepping right across the pit. So, boop, across the pit she goes, where the closet's waiting. It attacks, she firebolts it, and it goes running away pretty quickly. Meanwhile, Hetfield manages to join the fray by having Gretta throw him over the pit in a magnificent leap. He landed successfully, maybe even a superhero landing, it's possible. and the Quasit goes flying up and away and gone. Darn! I will bring him back later. So this puts them all the way to Area 12. Note Area 11's missing, because they didn't find or do any searching, use any perception or investigation or insight checks to do anything that might find Area 11. Note, if your players are really not getting it and you really need them to find something, suggest that they make the checks. Or just let them stumble. I chose the stumble because Area 11's not much. Actually, reading it now, it has an inscription and a secret door. That's about it. The end. So that brings them to this big sarcophagus in the room, which, of course, has a dragon priest that turned himself into a troll. Ooh, it's good they fought him early, because he gets his normal stats back. Now, in the book, in his current state, the dragon priest is slower and weaker than a normal troll. Use the troll stats, but start him with only hit points and regenerate with 5 hit points per round. And he can't use multi-attack. My party has 2 5th level characters. Yeah, I gave him multi-attack and gonked him back up to his full 80 or 90 hit points. That was 84 hit points instead of 30. But I kept the only regenning 5, because the party wasn't doing a whole lot of damage. Aleena landed the Witch Bolt, which allowed her to just keep blasting with lightning. The others were pounding on him. Gretta stayed up close and let her rage absorb half the damage. Even the time when she got critted and hit with everything, and that was like 5 or 66 plus 12. Half damage is a good thing. Remember that if you're ever playing a barbarian. That half damage saves your ass. Until your DM decides to throw monsters at you that can chew through that damage resistance. But I think Gretta will probably be gone by then. But her job is basically to be the meat shield for the party so that they can do cool shit. So, because this was a troll and nobody was getting the idea that it was regenerating, I started having the wizard make rolls. However, Aleena was failing her rolls every time. Enough that she knew that there was some kind of resistance, but there was some kind of damage that would stop the regeneration, maybe. It was about 6 rolls later and the thing's already down to 0 and continually regenerating 5 each round, that she finally rolls well enough to know to throw Firebolt and ends it beautifully. So they loot the bastard and make their way back. And that's where we had left it because we were out of time already. Somehow 2 hours goes by real fast. So some things that I learned here. Sometimes it's necessary for your party to get answers to their questions. Second, you should probably encourage them to use all their skills and abilities and powers and cool things that they have, because chances are they're neglecting one. Third, I have yet to get them in a good position where Aleena can fireball the living shit out of some things. And she's got fireball, and she's mostly not been able to use it properly. Mainly because everybody else has to get up into melee range. But I think when they get the chance to go after the goblins... Burn! So until next time,